I appreciate you.
Baba,
yini inkinga onayo?
kune-decision ekumele ngiyenze. Nginama-choice ayi-2.
Fetus deleters.
Mina usathani ngiyamazi mina. Uthi unentshebe emhlophe. You need help.
Ngiya-understand uma ufuna ukuxhumana nabangani bakho futhi. What about us, Mahlatse? Uzovele ungishiye nje kanjalo? Ngifuna nje ungithembise ukuthi angeke ungishiye.
Hello everyone, welcome back to ASR, African Stories Realized. This is our weekly review of Youngins Season 3, episodes 31 to 33. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get into it. Episode 31 picks up with Mahlatse and Puseletso having a playful back and forth before he officially asks her to be his girlfriend. Ramathuba then revealed that he had signed Mahlatse up for a math Olympiad, which comes with a prize of 15,000 rands. Mahlatse told Tumelo, who was excited for him at first, but his enthusiasm died down after Mahlatse revealed that he was now dating Puseletso. Meanwhile, Khaya and Amo complained about Ramathuba's strict discipline. During assembly, Ramathuba praised two students for earning scholarships and used them as an example of what happens when you follow the rules. However, Amo and Khaya dismissed it as propaganda from the principal, while expressing concern that the tide was turning in his favor. Meanwhile, a desperate Buhle, who had barely slept after trying to call Tumelo all night, confided in Tumelo, who found her falling apart in the bathroom. She revealed that Tumelo had ghosted her and that she didn't know what to do. Tumelo encouraged her to keep her chin up, but the episode ends with him insisting that the only real chance she has to save her future is to terminate the pregnancy. Episode 32 picks up with Buhle in bed, wearing pajamas while Amo got ready for school. She questioned if Buhle was alright, but Buhle insisted she was okay before calling her father for guidance. He advised her to pray, but Buhle broke down, admitting that she had been praying, but it wasn't helping. She begged him to tell her what to do, finally confessing that she's facing a major decision with two choices, one of which could ruin her life. He implored her to tell him what was wrong, but Buhle resisted before she hung up and cried silently, completely lost and unsure of what to do next. In the boys' dorms where Khaya was sleeping, Sefako, already suited up in his school uniform, was stressing like a parent with bills to pay. He tried to wake Khaya, who responded with an attitude of someone who had already given up on the education system. Sefako reminded Khaya about the promise he made to his father after the court case and begged him to not mess up their final year. Khaya dragged himself out of bed, but it was clear that his mind was anywhere but the classroom. Shortly after Ramathuba walked into class, Khaya decided to walk out. Ramathuba tried to block him from leaving, but the disrespectful Khaya snapped at the principal. The two had a brief tussle before Khaya walked out as his classmates watched on. After class, Khaya and Sefako argued about his rebellion against Ramathuba's policies. Sefako revealed his frustration with his friend, but their conversation was cut short when Ramathuba showed up and gave Khaya detention for walking out of class. But Khaya fired back, criticizing the principal for hitting Tsepo. Ramathuba addressed the students who had gathered, stating that what happened to Tsepo was a big mistake before promising that it won't happen again. However, Khaya mocked the principal, insisting that he had an evil heart. On the other side of campus, Mahlatse and Puseletso were tucked away on the stairs doing homework. She helped him prepare for the Olympiad before handing him some color-coded notes he could use to revise. Mahlatse was touched by the gesture and thanked her before expressing that he's never had anyone believe in him like she does. Meanwhile, Tumelo ran into Buhle in the corridor and she wasn't looking good. She broke down in his arms, admitting that she's mentally exhausted and stuck with a decision she's terrified to make. Tumelo held her tight, promising that he's there for her no matter what, even if she insists on keeping the baby. The episode ends in the girls' bathroom as a crying Buhle reveals to Tumelo that she wants to terminate her pregnancy. Episode 33 picks up in the girls' dorms with a concerned Amo trying to get Buhle out of bed for breakfast, but she barely responds. Khaya was also spiraling as Sefako found him roaming in a hoodie instead of his uniform, not interested in class, school, or life. Sefako eventually begged Amo to intervene and tried to help raise Khaya's spirits. However, despite Amo's best efforts, Khaya grew more disillusioned with life in school, revealing how Tsepo's beating triggered him, bringing back trauma of his abuse at the hands of his father. In Ramathuba's office, the principal cracks some dad jokes with Mahlatse before giving a motivational speech about how they're going to put the school on the map. Mahlatse, meanwhile, started praising Puseletso for helping turn him into a model student as Ramathuba gave his approval. In the dorms, Mahlatse's preparations for the Olympiad were ruined by Tumelo suddenly trying to borrow 500 rands to help Buhle. Mahlatse refused to lend Tumelo any money, but while getting ready to leave for the Olympiad, he spotted Tumelo asking for money from Mazamban. Mahlatse told Puseletso to go wait for the bus that would take them to the Olympiad while he investigated. He interrogated Mazamban, questioning what Tumelo wanted from him. A concerned Mahlatse then went looking for Tumelo before he was confronted by Puseletso, who tried to convince Mahlatse to wait for the school bus, accusing his friends of holding him back. The couple then got into their first argument, with Mahlatse sticking up for his friends and insisting that he needed to help Tumelo. Tumelo and Buhle had almost raised enough money for her termination before Mahlatse confronted Tumelo, accusing him of taking drugs, causing a scene in the corridor. Amo arrived and questioned what was going on, but Mahlatse was adamant that Tumelo had relapsed. The episode ends with Buhle confessing that she's pregnant, as Tumelo explained that she doesn't plan to keep the baby. Buhle is really going through it, and I'm glad that Tumelo's there for her, and that Mahlatse came to his senses. It wasn't easy sacrificing the opportunity to win 15,000 rands, but this looks like an opportunity to bring the gang back together. They've all been doing their own thing for most of the season, so it was nice to see the four of them in the same shot at the end. And of course Khaya was the odd man out because he's still sulking in his room. He really needs to get over the activism and focus on passing matric. I didn't really like most of my teachers in high school, which is why I just wanted to finish and get out of there, and that's the same mentality Khaya needs. Buhle had a decision to make, and I'm glad the show took us through her thought process. Her judgment was still very clouded, and part of that was because she expected a different reaction from Gabel. So no matter what decision she made, she knew that Gabelo did not want to be involved. The religious aspect of it also hit hard, with her growing up in a religious household and having a pastor for a father. And then the matter of Zintle's pregnancy in season 1. She lost her life trying to terminate it, and Butle's fear of the same thing happening to her was justified. Mahlatse had a come into Jesus moment, and I like that the show used his concern for Tumelo to show that he still cared for his friends. However, Ramathuba won't be happy to find out that he missed the Olympiad, and I think it's safe to say that it's over between him and Puseletso. She's a beautiful girl, but there was a lot of things working against their relationship. One of which was Mahlatse obviously still having feelings for Amo, but also Puseletso's age and her being 2 grades ahead of him. Our boy couldn't fake it anymore. A lot of you in the comments last week made the connection between Khaya and Amo's abusive fathers. It's well documented that Freddy was an abusive father, so Ramathuba's abuse of Tepo only made Khaya defy the principal more. And then there's the matter of Amo's mother losing her life at the hands of her father after years of abuse. So the former couple do have shared trauma there, which I don't think the show explored fully. I also think Khaya needs counseling, because lashing out isn't the best way to confront your demons. There also hasn't been any mention of Amo's father in a while, so the show seems to have phased him out. Palesa confirmed that her and Sefako were still dating, but like some of us had speculated in the comments, it hasn't been convincing lately. I suspect that the storyline of the entanglement between Tumelo, Sefako and Palesa was shot later in the season. Even though the episodes happened early in the season, I suspect that the storyline was inserted later in the season where like the later episodes had already been shot. So I think that's what actually happened and why there's inconsistencies with their relationship. Tumelo was once again the MVP for holding down Buhle, so big up to Tumelo for the maturity he's shown this season. Buhle would be lost without him. Moral education, life orientation, whatever you want to call it, Youngins doesn't shy away from depicting the impossible choices teenagers face, especially females. 4 weeks to go till the finale, and it feels like the show is building up to something. I'm just not sure what it is yet, but I'm confident it'll be good. Big up to everyone who's been keeping me company in the comments. I'm looking forward to reading your reviews of today's episodes. Youngins Season 3 is streaming every Friday on Showmax. Thank you for watching. We'll be back next week with another review. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is ASR for the love of African filmmaking and storytelling.